You are in the VIP section of the Black Women in Radio podcast, a decade of the new woman. I'm your host, Felicia Love, along with our special guest, my girl, KeKe.
I try to make everybody else in the room feel calm. So, I've had times where I've been a perfectionist and really put a nice break together and took out all my extra breaths and just had it ready to go over the air, and then the board freezes or the computer freezes. And one thing I learned from my time as an intern is that you just don't stop. You cannot pause. You have to go. And so sometimes you just got to hit that mic, turn it on, and just ramble or whatever is, coming out of your mind. But you do not quit. You do not abort the mission. And you just got to roll with the punches and try your best to be calm, because as you stay calm, then everybody else in the room seems to remain calm.
That is a brilliant way to handle it, because I have seen many people get frustrated, and the more angry you get, more negative energy you bring in the room, it's hard to bring it back. And I tell you what, you and I are troopers, because it's taken us twice to record this thing because technology is just knocking us all over the place. You see my black eye? I'm just like, what in the world? Oh my goodness. Everything that could go wrong today has gone wrong with me and KeKe, but guess what? We're still in the mix.
We are still rolling with it.
Still making it happen. Oh my goodness. The first recording that we had, you had such a wonderful story to tell about a program director coming in and letting you know that you've got an artist and zero time to prepare. How did you handle that?
That's just, I think that's just when you show your true professionalism. Your PD may come in. I mean, they have 1,000 things going on. So sometimes they've forgotten that they told a record rep or someone that, oh yeah, we'll interview your new artist, or, he may just come in. You have your show all prepped. You have everything that you're going to do for the remainder of your show. And he's like, yeah, Joe Schmo is coming in about 5 minutes, but I need you to do this interview. And that's just when you kind of like, okay. You remember, this is what you do. And so those moments you got to really tap in to be like, you know what? Hey, I'm going to keep a great attitude. I'm going to keep a great, I'm going to give a great interview. And hopefully by the end of this, me and artist Joe Schmo will become friends, or, he will have a great experience on my show, no matter if I just found out 4 minutes ago that he was coming. So that's why I always try to, I don't care who it is, whether you are an A-list artist or, an up-and-coming artist, I always show you the same level of welcomeness when you walk into the studio. And so I think that that's super important.
That's a huge level of professionalism. It really is. There are some old heads out there that have not gained that level of professionalism because they want to be perfectionists and they want things to go a certain way. And when they feel like things are out of control, they spin out of control. Therefore, the interview sucks and they're trying to figure out why. But will they say, oh, I take responsibility? Oh, no. They'll say, well, it's the program director's fault because I didn't get a chance to prepare. And, it'll always be someone else's fault. But listening to you as young as you are, to articulate a level of professionalism the way you have, I'm just blown away.
I thank you for that, first of all. But I just credit it to being around greats, coming up around greats in the industry and really just being a student of the industry. And I've just studied people who have had long, successful careers, and I've tried to pick from some of the great things that they do. And I've noticed that the great personalities give that experience to artists, whether they're A-list or up and coming. And so that's one thing that I've always just taken from them. And I try to, add it to my own career and what I do. So thank you.
You're doing a fabulous job. You really are. Tell me about the A-listers. Is there a actor or radio personality that you really were beside yourself on interviewing?
Beside myself, probably not. I mean, you're gonna laugh, but the artist that I was probably most excited and nervous about was B2K, and that was because they were like the Boys to Men new edition of my generation.
Yes.
And so I was most excited about that interview because I was just a fanatic as a kid. But every other artist that I've pretty much gotten a chance to interview, I have just been, I get a little anxious before, but once we start that conversation, it's just like, you're a new friend that I want to get to know, and I want to make sure this experience is good for everybody watching. And so that's kind of just where I put my focus and just go from there. So I haven't had any freak out, pass out moments yet, but I hope to experience some coming in my career.
Can you think of a few that you would love to interview?
I would love to interview Queen Latifah. I just respect her and admire her so much, and I'm like, she's one of my people that I just look to in the industry that I just admire. So I would love to talk to Queen Latifah. I would love to interview Jay-Z, and I would love to talk to Oprah and Wendy Williams.
Looking forward to being that girl where I can make them all appear. I'm looking forward to that moment. That's my dream in my head. As you're listing them, they appear behind you.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I love it. Yeah, it would be fabulous. I'm looking forward to being able to do that. That's my dream. Let's talk a little bit about how easy we make it sound in the studio, but how frantic things can be behind the scenes.
I take my hat off to radio personalities, especially of today, because, we don't have teams. We don't have producers. We don't have social media producers. It's literally you, your microphone, your listeners. You're controlling the board. You're controlling the phones. You're controlling the social media aspect. All of it is you. And, unless you're like a morning show or a big afternoon drive show, but even then it's still cut down so much more than what it used to be. Whereas jocks could just really focus on being a personality. A lot of us are personalities. We're engineers. We're social media coordinators. We are, we wear a lot of hats in the studio. But when that mic is on, you have to make sure that connection with your listeners is your top priority. And so, I may have gotten an email from a sales rep or someone that I have to, mention this or do this or write this commercial within the next 30 minutes. And I have to still focus and make sure my listeners having a great time. So those are the things that are going on behind the scenes that listeners, you never want them to feel that, you don't want them to feel that you're frustrated. You don't want them to feel that your feelings are hurt or that you're overwhelmed. But you just want to make sure it's an ultimate experience from them from start to finish. So
that's huge. And a lot of times, things don't go silky smooth behind the scenes. And to add in all of the technical issues, sometimes you are upset or depressed or, life is happening in your own life and you don't have that opportunity to vent. And I think in our first interview that we did, it was so good, guys, but we're going to try to give you all the juicy bits. We were talking about the fact that people don't understand that back in the day, we didn't necessarily have an opportunity to relate to our listeners in the way that you in this generation have an opportunity to relate. And the reason why I say that is because of social media and because it depends on the radio station and the program director as to how much of your personality you can actually show. So when I was in radio in the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, I've had several PDs and radio stations, but I distinctly remember those that were so tight on what you said. You would get a phone call if you deviated from a liner. So you didn't have the opportunity to show your personality, to say, relate to the audience and say, I'm having a bad day. How do you handle that? What's your experience?
My experience, well, under my program director, he is really great about encouraging us to be transparent on air and to share our lives and to share, things that are going on with us. And we are a company, so we have to stick to liners. We have to get to the point. We have to get to the next song. But it's really all about taking those moments and that 30 seconds or 40 seconds that you have for a break and really giving it your all, right? And doing as much as you can in that 40 seconds. But I think where we have an advantage over the older generation is that we have social media now. So, I only may be on the air, a short amount of time or, once a week, but I'm on social media all week and I have that opportunity to connect with our listeners just like I do on air with social media. And a lot of times we will open up conversations and, because everybody has their own platform now, back in the day, it was like the only way they can give their opinions as listeners is to call. And Lord knows that you probably weren't going to get through. But now, right? They're in my comments, they tweet me, it's like, KeKe, let's finish talking about what you said, I still have something to say. And so that at that point, it's really a blessing for us to have social media in this generation, because that's just an extra mile that we get to connect with our listeners. And you have to use that because, like you said, you have to get those liners in. You have to get to the next song. So you really got to take your opportunity on social media to really make that connection with your listeners.
And that's huge. And even those who are listening to us, they have their own platforms.
Yes.
And to be able to integrate what's going on with you, not only on air, but in your day-to-day life, really makes a solid grassroots connection to your audience. And that's unlike anything that I've ever witnessed in my career. So that is fantastic. Who's your program director, by the way? We've got to give him a shout out.
Oh, yeah, Johnny D.
Johnny D.
Yes, he's our program director here at WGCI. So
it's awesome that he's allowing you to not just you, but the air personalities to be organic and authentic with their delivery. That's huge because people know fake. They know fake.
Yes,
totally. I remember as well, we had a request line. We might have had 3, 4, 5, 6 lines maybe, but if we were running a contest or asking someone for their favorite songs, those lines would just jam,
Yes.
And now with social media, you've got so many different avenues to reach a radio personality. So I think that is so cool. Sliding a DM, that is just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
When I was in radio, we were barely, as a matter of fact, we were just starting to write, find our handles for emails. We were just trying to be clever with this email thing. Girl, please. And some of us didn't even want to do emails. There were some radio stations that we fought them tooth and nail to come up with a website. Can you believe that?
I can't actually, because I don't even know how you can do it without those extra avenues.
You definitely can't now. Times have definitely changed. Tell me, how did you get into the industry to begin with?
I was a very eager radio nerd all my life. So like at 10, 11 years old, I just really fell in love with this night show on WGCI called The Bad Boys.
That's one of those loaded radio questions. You don't want to know. Bad boys and bad girls all over the world. What's up?
And they were just huge personalities in the city and in the country. And it was just like, I was a fanatic. And I was just like, oh my God, I love them so much. I used to call their show and like, hey, can I work with you guys? Can I get a job? And this is at like 11 to 12 years old. And they would just be like, God bless you, baby, but stay in school. Call us, call us when you graduate. And, I just always kept that in the back of my mind. Like, man, I'm going to be like them one day. And I'm going to work for WGCI. And I would say it through high school, and people just laugh at me like, girl, you are crazy. And literally when I got out of high school, I ended up in broadcasting school. And when I got to broadcasting school, I walked in and Beyonce Fox was my teacher. And she was the midday.
I love Beyonce.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
Beyonce
cool.
is amazing. She was the midday personality on WGCI. So I was like, oh my God, this is destiny. Like, there's no way I'm not going to work here. And she just was telling us on like the first day of class, she was like, you know, you're going to do this and you're going to learn this, and then you're going to go and get you an internship. And I was like, oh, internship. And so I was like, I'm going to start looking for internships now. And it was like my third week of school, and we were not supposed to be looking for internships yet. And I reached out to this afternoon jock, UB Rodriguez on WGCI at the time. And I was like, yo, can I be your intern? And I just hit him up on Twitter. And he was like, no. He was like, can you send me an email? He was like, you put that in an email. You send an email with a resume if you want to be my intern. And I'm like, okay. So I sent him an email. I put together a resume, and on my resume, I think I had that, like, I had only worked at KFC as a manager, and I through high school, and I was like, yeah, I want to be an intern. And he was like, okay, so I see you're in school, but you don't have any experience. You don't know anything yet. What can you offer me as an intern? And he made me write 3 essays. And he was like, I need these essays by tomorrow. And it was like 7 p.m. Yeah, it was like 7 p.m. the night before. And I made sure he had those essays in his box by like 8 a.m. the next day. And from there, he was like, you're serious about this? Okay. He was like, he waited a couple weeks, and then he emailed me and was like, okay, you have an internship here. And I got my foot in that door, and I was just like, it was like if you wanted to play, you know, basketball, and I felt like I just ended up on the court with Jordan, you know, just walking through the doors of WGCI, this place I had dreamed of as a kid. And it was just scary. It was scary. It was intimidating. I was super young. But you know, that's how I got my foot in the door, and I just never left.
That is amazing. You worked your butt off to get in that position.
I did. Our internships were only supposed to last like 3 months. So there would be like a group of interns that I started with, and then when that 3-month period came up, they were like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna leave. They turned our key card off, you know, KeKe, where are you going next? And I was like, oh, well, they asked me to stay, you know, and it just kept doing that for like a year straight. I had graduated school by that time, and I was still there. And so finally, I started working up under the program director, shadowing her, being her personal intern. And she got, you know, a pay gig opened up, and she was like, do you want this? And I was like, absolutely. So it was all uphill from there.
Wow. That is incredible, KeKe. Now, I'm from Chicago, so once in a while I'm visiting, and I have had a chance to hear you on air, and you are no joke. You hold your own. And I just want to tell you, I am not the kind of person that will be inauthentic and tell you a bunch of crap. As a matter of fact, I'm that girl who would be like, oh, that's nice. Oh, okay. That's good for you. That's all you would get from me. Right. But I want you to know that I cannot think of too many seasoned radio personalities. If we were to stand them, you and them, side by side in terms of skill and presence, oh, baby, you holding your own.
Wow.
You are holding your own.
Thank you so much. I'm only 2 years in, but, you know, as far as on air is concerned, but I've just been a student, you know, of the game for a lot of years. So thank you for that.
I have 2 daughters. I have one that's 21 and 25, Gabrielle and Chelsea. And I always call them old souls because they have a different perspective and the way they look at life. And sometimes I feel like I'm, you know, talking to women that are 50 years old. You had to have been a radio personality in your previous life. I mean, because you've got the entire package. It's not just the skills, but it's the presence. And you know what people always say, that it factor? The it factor is a serious thing. It is an aura that you have about yourself when you have stage presence and behind the mic presence and the skill to intertwine relationships and build, you know, solid relationships with people in a split second. And you have to do that when you know, have celebrities in your studio, because you can't project that to the audience, so you don't have a clue about them. And you know, you have to pretend that, hey, yeah, I've been listening to you, and you know, I love your work, and da 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 da. And that's not easy to pull off. You know, that's not easy. And so you have that essence about you that it's like you've been a seasoned radio personality for a long time. And that's huge. I've been in the industry 30 years. So, I'm not poo-pooing your work. I'm not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me, because I take this very serious, and I'm very grateful to be in this industry and in this market and in this space. And so thank you so much, because I've only been at it 2 years, but I really, really take it serious. And so thank you so much for that. Like, whew.
The level of professionalism that you have is what takes it over the top, because professionalism you can't necessarily teach to people. You can let them know what the policy is, but the person has to carry out the policy, and you have to own it and make it a part of your personality. And I get that coming from you. So kudos to you. I'm gonna stop embarrassing you now.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me when I get that type of feedback, because
You're welcome. You are absolutely welcome. I noticed as well, you take gorgeous pictures. I will follow you on our platform, Black Women in Radio, and thanks for following us.
I love it.
Thank you. What do you think about the platform?
I love it. I love just everything that it's about. Your site has just put me on to so many other women across the country that are, doing so many other things. And I feel like it was so needed to, be a tool to really connect us and show us like, oh, look at this girl and look at that girl. And, it's like a sisterhood that you all are creating across the industry. And it's definitely something that's needed, because so many things try to put us up against each other. But, your site is just something that really brings us together. And so I'm grateful that you all it was put on your heart to start something like that, because it's truly important for us in this industry. We got to support each other.
And see, spoken from a seasoned radio personality, although you say just 2 years in, girl, you've said a mouthful, because even knowing that there is a need for a sisterhood and noting that people do try to pit us against each other. Sometimes we know about it, sometimes we don't. That's seasoned knowledge. So that's why I said you were a radio personality in your first life. I believe it. I'm sticking to it. But what I want to ask you is, when I see your stage presence and I see your photos, I see an absolutely gorgeous, confident woman. And because I have some years on me, I know that emotionally, Black women, especially in the industry, we feel like we have to fit a certain stereotype in order to be accepted. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk to you about that, because when I see you, I don't see a lick of, being unconfident or any of that. I see a very powerful woman who can hold her own. And every time I see something that comes across the page, I'm like, that's KeKe. She owning that. She is owning. And I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
But let's just speak to how we are pigeonholed as Black women in entertainment. And what brings all of this to mind is Frankie Robinson's platform in bringing very curvy, vivacious women to the forefront in the that are not in the industry but in the community, and showcasing them on the page, on her page, which is great. I can't wait to talk to her about why she does that. But I just want to speak to our experience personally as Black women in entertainment, how difficult that is to hold your own when you're in the spotlight. What do you think?
It's I think it's all about what you make it, I think, you know, or as far as Frankie's concerned, she's wonderful. She's been one of the sweetest people to me.
Beautiful personality, yes.
Yeah, in this industry, just a true, a real heart that she has. And I think her intentions behind that was just to spotlight and show a different side of the curvy women, because they, you know, say that like, oh, well, if you look like this, then you don't really have much else to offer. And I think her focus is kind of to show like, no, she's a business owner. No, she's an entrepreneur. You know, no, she has a successful company. And so that's pretty much what, you know, she has. I think that's her true meaning behind that.
And it's brilliant because it's absolutely needed. It does fit into, you know, our conversation about being pigeonholed. Yeah, it absolutely fits into that conversation.
Yeah. And, you know, as far as holding your own, I just think you have to truly come to terms with who you are and what you want your brand to be. And once you get comfortable in that, your confidence will show through, you know, your actions. And so, because I know that I don't want to be anything other than KeKe, you know, I don't want to be the next girl. I don't want to be, you know, the other girl. I want to be KeKe. You know, I know who KeKe is. I know what KeKe's about, and I'm confident in that. And so I don't even have to try to be anything else but KeKe. You know, like I know that, you know, KeKe is, you know, she loves this. She loves fashion and stuff. You know, she got to hold the big girls down, and she, you know, she want to make the big girls proud and look good. And, you know, so when I get dressed or I get ready for an event, that's all I'm thinking about is KeKe and what KeKe wants to bring to this event. I'm not thinking about what the next girl or what the next guy is looking for, or what the next, you know, what will make the guys look this way or feel that way. You know, once you get out of all of that, you have no choice but to be confident in who you are, because you know who you are. And so I think that's just the main focus, is to figure out who you are and, you know, what you like, and then go from there. And no one else can really tamper with your thoughts about, you know, how you should present yourself, because this is who you are, this is what you like, and as long as you're making yourself happy and proud, then you won, you know. And that's just kind of how I go about it in this industry.
I love it, KeKe. And with all sincerity, and speaking to you from someone who, when I was your age in the industry, I think I was in Cincinnati by that time, working at the Wiz when Wiz first came on air. I was one of the first one of the first females to be on the air there. I remember battling with bulimia. Now, the crazy thing is, no one was talking about eating disorders back in, anorexia or bulimia. But I had a real difficulty trying to figure out how I could make my body like the next girl, because that was what we were talking about in the 80s and 90s. You were not considered to do anything unless you were a certain body type and a certain look. And I will go there, even a certain skin color. And so I really had what I know now to be imposter syndrome. And so to speak with someone as young as you are and as confident and well-rounded as you are makes me so proud. It makes that 20-year-old girl inside of me just glow, because you didn't have to go through that. Although we can see it everywhere we go, even with
it's
girls
still
10, 11 years old.
Yeah, it still happens. It's still, you know, it's happened in the industry. Like, I've been overlooked for things, you know, I know that, but I'm not willing to compromise who I am for that opportunity. So, you know, if that's the girl you need for that, you know, opportunity, then that's hers. But I truly believe I have a deep relationship in my faith with God, and I believe that everything that is for me will be mine. So all I have to do is show up and continue to be me and trust in God's plan for me. And so I don't even let that affect me, you know, because hey, if that's what you were looking for, and that's, hey, you got it. But, you know, when it's my turn and when it's ready, when that lane is ready for me, I will be here ready, still being KeKe. And so that's what I think, you know, about it.
You're giving me chills. I love it. I have to say this too. I was on faculty at Spelman College for about 7 years. So I ran into a lot of KeKes on that campus. And even as a wellness coach, I've run into a lot of KeKes on that campus. And my gosh, to get people from where they are in their confidence level to where you are right now, girl, I just want you to know you've got, I mean, stick with it, because there's so many people way, way, way behind you in their thought process, because we're really thinking that we need to be a certain way, which is another reason why I brought Black women in radio into the forefront, because I want people to know that we are women of many varieties. We're multidimensional. We are different sizes, shapes, and we have different interests. And I wanted to bring that to the forefront because there's a woman here in Atlanta, Joyce Littell, has a beautiful story like yours. And as a matter of fact, next time I talk to you, I want to bring Joyce on as well. She too has been passed up for different things. Everybody, though, this is the reality, no matter what shape or size you are, has been passed over for something. It's just the way we take it on. And so that's why I'm just so tickled by your confidence and your understanding of who you are. You know how many people are walking in the streets right now don't know who they are?
Yes, it's a dangerous place to be, but
dangerous place to be.
You gotta take control of that, and you gotta get control of your mind, because all those insecurities that people will place on you, their own insecurities, they'll try to place on you, and you just gotta know, like, nope, that's not who I am. So
that's another really smart thing. They will do it. They will put it on you. And it's not, I love Rashawn Ali. I spoke to her on our Black Women in Radio podcast not long ago. And I love what she said. She said, when I feel that energy on me, I just tell myself that that's not mine. That's not mine. And she has learned to train her mind to not take on that energy and mess, because people will throw you completely off your square if you let them.
Absolutely. Yes. There are a lot of demons in this industry, and if you don't have your mind together and that shield of protection and that relationship with God, sometimes you will just get wrapped up in what they got going on, and you, Lord knows, that is not what you want to do. So you definitely have to be assured of who you are and what you stand for, and that will cover you throughout this game, because
Absolutely. Let's talk a moment about Tank, your relationship with Tank, as fine as he is. Okay, I'm a tad bit jealous. No, I'm kidding. I have never had an opportunity to interview Tank, but that would be one. I probably, nothing would come out of my mouth. I think he's gorgeous.
Yes, Tank is fine. There's no question.
Okay, so I'm not by myself. That's my man crush. He's my man in my head, although I know he's married and all of that, but he's my man in my head. What your relationship with him is pretty neat. Tell us about that.
He was just one of the first artists, or he was the first artist that allowed me to interview him. But even before I was on radio, I had started a blog while I was in school, and I would do articles on my blog and do reality TV reviews. And Tank had put out a project and was getting ready to come to Chicago, and I just reached out to him on a whim, like, "Hey, can I do a phone interview with you?" And he was like, "Sure." And he was really friendly and really nice, and one of the funniest artists that I've ever interviewed. And so every time that I've interviewed him in my career since then, he's just always been a nice, humble guy, but one of the most talented people in this game. And I mean, I always have a special place in my heart for Tank, because when I was like a kid with a Google blog, he gave me that opportunity to say that I've interviewed an artist, and I will always hold him at a certain level of respect, because he has always been professional, always been nice, hilarious every time that I get to interview him. So Tank is a cool dude.
Oh, I love that relationship. I love it. And I especially love it when celebrities show their true, authentic side. Because I know behind the mic, we have to be on all the time, and people expect that from us. And then when they don't get it, it's like, what's going on with them? But little do they know, a lot of radio personalities are introverts.
Oh my God,
yes. Yeah. We really would rather be home.
That goes to the club and at every party. And yeah, I like to work and then decompress. So
yes.
Yeah, I totally get that introvert part of being a radio personality. It's just not like, I'm not the ultimate networker. But I'm cool, and I'm always here, and I'm always watching, and I'm always friendly and everything. But it's just, when you say introvert, I get it.
Exactly. Exactly. So, it's amazing how audiences think that we're, the life of the party all the time, not realizing sometimes we have to dig in deep to find that. And sometimes it's like, as soon as the mic flips, that's when the personality shines, you know? Yeah. That is hilarious. Well, I won't hold you any longer because I know we have tried this twice. But before you go, I want to do a word association real quick. You ready for this game?
Okay, yeah.
Heels or flip-flops?
Flip-flops.
TV or gym?
Say it again.
TV or the gym?
TV. It should be the gym, but TV.
Yep. Wine. We're all guilty of this one. Okay. Wine or shots?
Wine.
R&B or hip hop?
R&B.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Magazine or book?
That's a tough one. Magazine.
I love it. I love it. KeKe, thanks so much. I am so very proud of you. Like I said, my girls are your age, and when I see you doing your thing, it just warms my heart. So keep up the great work. You also have an entertainment show. Tell us about that. I love that, and I post it every time I can catch it. So remember to tag me so I won't miss it. Yeah, but it's awesome.
Yep, that's crazy. It's my entertainment segment that I do every week, just wrapping up the trending topics throughout the week, and really just when I see something that really has me give that reaction of like, woo, that is crazy, then I include it in my segment. So thank you so much for supporting me and highlighting Black women in radio all across the country. Like, we need that, and it's wonderful, the work that you do, and we appreciate you for it.
Oh, well, thank you, KeKe. And I appreciate you, and keep doing your thing. And, don't let anybody stop you, because I tell you what, you're working with rocket fuel. So go in there, wherever your dream is, take it there, because you have everything you need to get there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thanks so much. Love you much. And looking forward to talking to you soon.
All right.
Okay. Be careful as you exit your VIP seats. It'll be waiting for you next Wednesday when we talk to Sasha the Diva. Be sure to join us on all social media and on our website at blackwomeninradio.com.
Here we go! We literally are building a bridge. It taught me to value. When I was in the valley, I had no idea that it would really come back to help me. People underestimate the power of being yourself. I think people are always in search of, what can I do to stand out? All of us, and you included, I know, have gone to work and you have not felt yourself. You were either migraine, you had a horrible breakup, you had a breakout, all of those things, and you were able to convince people that everything in your world was fantastic. That's called this finest. When I am long gone, I hope that the one thing I am able to teach Black women specifically